Welcome to Women in Workforce, a series celebrating capital area workforce development. I'm Carrie Rosingana, and I'm the CEO at Capital Area Michigan Works, a workforce development agency here in the Tri-County region. I'll be your host as we bring together women in positions of leadership to shine a spotlight on the workforce impacts, while also talking about and addressing some of the disparities and challenges that are unique to women in the workforce.
And I'm Kate Snyder. I'm the CEO of Piper & Gold Public Relations, and I'll be joining Carrie each episode as co-host. After decades of friendship and working alongside each other in workforce development, Carrie and I decided we really wanted to create this show as an opportunity to not only highlight the contributions of women in our region's workforce, as well as in workforce development as a whole, but we also really wanted to create a platform for discussion, inspiration, and being able to talk about the disparities that are unique to women in the workplace. And this particular episode, I am very excited about because we have the opportunity to have our senior leadership staff from our own organizations and teams here to talk today. And it's such a unique and awesome opportunity to get to share these thoughts and share this conversation with people that we not only respect, but work directly alongside and hand in hand with every day. So I'm really excited for you to be here. Thank you.
So each episode, we will host a roundtable type discussion with our fellow community leaders. And as Kate mentioned, this one will be extra special because we get to have them with our counterparts and our leadership team here. So you're going to get lots of good insight, I expect, this from this episode. And today we're really fortunate to be gathered at Risky Studios in East Lansing. And we're so grateful that you've chosen to join us. So we're going to dive right in.
Okay. Whenever we get awesome female leaders together, you know that our bios could go on and forever. But we're asking you to sum up your bios today, your professional bios, in one sentence or less, in our segment called This Could Be a Whole Episode. So we want you to share with us just one sentence that sums up your professional bio so we can actually talk about other things in the episode. And then one sentence that helps us understand behind the bio. Like, what don't people see or know or understand when that professional bio is read?
So I'll give you just a little bit of an example of what we're looking for, and certainly customize and make it your own. My one sentence would be, I am dedicated to working with people in our community and whatever goals they have to make sure that they're successful. That is my career goal. That is what I've done for 20 years, and I'm lucky to do it. And my behind the scenes is that I am a parent. I am a wife. I am a daughter. I am a daughter-in-law. I have a lot of other titles that I wear other than just my professional one. And those all directly connect to the work that I do professionally every day. Oh, so I think I get to introduce our first guest.
Dun, dun, dun.
So first up, I had the pleasure of introducing my longtime friend and counterpart, Tekea Norwood. Tekea is our Chief Operating Officer and Equal Opportunity Officer at Capital Area Michigan Works. And she and I have worked together since I joined the Capital Area Michigan Works team in 2007. So we have a long history together. So Tekea, it's your turn to share your one sentence bio and what's behind the scenes.
Well, I have to sum up all that.
Yeah.
You know, as women, it's a lot to sum up. But I would say give or give back. For me, what you won't read is that I'm someone who loves to pour into people. And I want to make sure that they're thriving. I want to make sure that they're okay. I want to make sure that they succeed. And so that's what you won't read in my bio is that I am here. I am a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader in high school. So I am the biggest cheerleader for individuals who are in my life and those that come across my path. I'm like, you can do it. I swear you got it. I am the biggest cheerleader, and I'm going to make sure that, whatever you need, I'm here. I'm here for you. So to sum that up, that's me. I'm a giver.
I love it. Okay. So next up, I'm pleased to introduce you to the president at Piper and Gold Public Relations, our inaugural president, Cassie Cotton, who I've had the amazing opportunity to work alongside for just over 5 years now, more than 5 years now. And I'm so excited for the new presidency position that she assumed recently, and for y'all to get a chance to just get to know her a little bit better. So, Cassie?
Yeah, as Tekea was talking, I was kind of like, they definitely put us in this room together for this episode, because I guess summarizing my bio, I would say an advocate, and an educator, a lifelong learner, but most importantly to me, I would say, if you tell me your passions, like if you tell me your dreams, like I'm going to push you for them, and I'm going to support you in that, and any opportunity that I see that aligns, you better bet I'm going to send that to you. So that like cheerleader aspect that you were talking about definitely resonated with me too. So yeah, that's my long summary.
Can confirm though, because one of the things that I have always appreciated about you, and I've really appreciated as we've gone through this, CEO and president transition, is how much I get to learn from you. And that, like, for the first time in a really long time, for the first time ever in small business ownership, I feel like someone is looking out for me in, like, as much as I'm looking out for others. I guess no, that's not true. I have had the good fortune of working alongside other people that I know were looking out for me. But, like, with you, you've made it a part of your job. I mean, she's, like, telling me, like, oh, this is how much you should make. This is how you should do it. I'm like, okay, cool. But I like learned so much from you, and I love that, because people often think that if there's a slight age difference or experience difference, that like somehow you can't learn from someone that does not have the same number of years of experience as you or isn't the same age as you, and that it's just so wrong. Like, I learn from you all the time, and you always challenge me to like think, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I love that. That's really good. It's just great. So
I get to introduce our final guest. So last but certainly not least is Amirika Richardson, who is our education officer at Capital Area Michigan Works. And I was already jumping ahead to what I was thinking that I wanted to say about you. Amirika and I have worked alongside of each other in different roles that she's held with our agency. And the one thing that has always been evident is her passion. Anything that she is going to do, she is going to put her heart and her soul and all of her energy into it.
Truth.
And she is somebody who I admire, because she doesn't take no for an answer. She is someone who will knock on every door if it means that she's going to help somebody. And this is going to be a hard one for me not to get super emotional about. And I'm going to be a real leader. I probably will get emotional in this moment, because that's just me. But Amirika, I'm so grateful that you could join us today, because your leadership style and your leadership ability is something that's so natural. And I don't feel like we could have this conversation without you being a part of it. So what's your one sentence bio and behind the scenes?
All right, so the ones, I have that on deck.
We just started.
But you know me.
I do. That's why I said you and I will probably be tearing up.
But yeah, no, community elevation. I mean, that is everything to me, is making sure that I can elevate my community, make my community better. I'm super passionate about that, as you can tell. I've seen so much in my lifetime. So if I can make someone else's life better, I'm going to do it, because I've seen a lot of heartache and pain. So for me, it's about finding the areas of where I can be the helper, the person to pull somebody else along. You have the cheerleaders, but you also have the people that come through and like, hey, you need to get out here so that we can cheer you on. And so I'm so grateful to be alongside the cheerleaders. Like Tekea said, I don't know if I could have done every day without her, because she will push me to every end of my rope. Like, you have more in you. Give it. So I am so thankful for that. And yes, I am the emotional crier one, but
You're all right.
and I will not apologize.
This is our team.
Did not know that about you.
Now you know why we get along so well.
Fair point is we're like this stone cold bitches over here, like. No, but one of the things though that you said, you know, like you've got the cheerleaders and then you've got the helpers. But one thing that, as I've gotten the minor opportunity to get to know you better, Amirika, through work stuff, is that I've always perceived you as a fighter. And I know that for Black women, I can't understand it, but I've tried to listen and absorb and acknowledge that there are stigmas surrounding that as Black women and sensitivities. And I really appreciate the way that you have chosen to be a fighter, regardless of the stigmas or sensitivities surrounding that. And that, like, sometimes you scare the shit out of me. I'm like, oh, I pissed off Amirika. I gotta, oh, fuck. But
This is going to be our most Kate and Carrie episode.
yeah, but like what you said about the cheerleaders and the helpers, like helping is not always, like sometimes helping is loving and emotionally supportive and soft and gentle, and sometimes helping is not. It is
I love that.
hard and like it's something that, in all honesty, I hope other people see in me. Like, I'm not gonna be the best person to like give you a hug, but we always joke like, but if you need somebody to like
Bury a body.
Right.
we're not going to say that on camera, but like key the car for sure.
Key the car, yeah.
Or like just to stand in front of the
Yep.
flack that's coming, or to push it. Like I will be the person other people can be pissed at, can hate, can find frustrating or abrasive if it means my people get what they need. Right. I will step into that role even if I don't love it, even if it's not fun. And I've seen that in you as well, that you're like, no, this will happen. I'll take the flack myself to get what I know other people need. And I love it.
It's so funny to hear that. I'm sorry. Because, like, I always think I'm, like, the softest person in the room. And then a coworker who no longer works with us, like, told someone else, like, yeah, she's such a bitch. And I was like, me? Like, I will give you the shirt off my back. Like, but it's like you said, like, when I'm in that mode of, like, I just want to make sure we get this done. It's the right way. I want to make sure we look good. I do get forceful, and I do get passionate.
And if somebody hurts somebody that you care about,
yeah.
that's where I think it comes from, too.
Well, and people project these stigmas onto us that for us to be helpful, we have to be the nurturers. And they don't recognize that, like, that force, that fight can be just as friggin' helpful and nurturing as other forms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet, yeah, we get devalued or disregarded or labeled as difficult or, said that we have masculine traits because that's how at times I can be very loving and gentle, and at times I can be not. And like
You were thinking
only
something
one
too,
of those.
too, about
Well,
that.
I was just going to talk about, what's important is we're talking about women in the workplace, and our leader, right, Carrie, she allows us to be who we are. And that's important. She allows us to make our mistakes. She allows us to, not only does she allows us to make our mistakes. Why are you laughing?
Because it's so true. To cry in her office and be like, okay, you need
And
a
it's
tissue.
okay because you learn from your mistakes, right? So she's there. She's there. She's like, okay, well, let's talk about it. What happened? So it's a safe space. She creates a safe space for us to be who we are really called to be, right? And to help those that she's placed underneath us, right? That's important. If she wasn't the way that she was, I'm telling you, we would have a different culture at work. But our culture, and anyone will tell you, I would say it is loving. It is nurturing, because we are there to help one another in the time of need. It is important that, we, strive to do things in excellence, right? We always want to do things in excellence. But while doing it, making sure that those that she's placed underneath us, we don't hurt or harm. Mm-hmm. And that's important. She doesn't hurt and harm us. She cares about our well-being. And that is important. That is important. That's important as a woman who, as a mother, you talked about being a mother. A mother, we deal with a lot. So to come into work and be like, okay, I got to deal with this stuff. After I just came from home dealing with some other things, with my child saying, I really don't want to wear this. I'm not going to go to school today because I don't want to wear this. And I'm like, no, I got a meeting at 10 o'clock and you got to go to summer camp. No, I'm not going to go today because I don't feel like it. And so we have to deal with that. Then I have to come into work and then there's, people like with their issues. So I have to be ready for that, And so I'm just thankful that she creates a space where we're allowed to be who we are. And that's important, and that helps us grow. So thank you.
So true.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'll spare Carrie having to speak at this moment and
Sorry.
transition us into our next segment, which is really just more of this kind of dialogue. We have 5 questions, and we're going to ask some combination of them. And, really just kind of talk through things. So we want to start with the question, and I do think you've already started to allude to some of it in terms of leadership in the workplace. But what are some of the biggest challenges you believe are unique to women in the workplace today, particularly as it relates to leading and being women in positions of leadership?
I'll start since it's quiet. For me, it's microaggressions. There's a lot of things that, I even had a bias recently. I went to go get my hair done, and the lady that was going to do my hair, I was like, can she do this, what I want, what I've asked her to do? And I wanted to ask all these questions, and I was like, nope, you need to put your bias down. She has her license, she's here for a reason, and you need to trust that she's going to do what she needs to do. And I didn't ask anything, and I wanted to so bad, and she was like, I think she read my face, and she was like, I got you. And then trusting her that she did, and she did an excellent job. And I just had to back up and go, I have to work on my biases because I almost put a microaggression out there for her to ask her, well, can you do this type of hair? Can you handle this? And I have to be careful and check myself daily. But I feel like I wish that was something that we could eliminate in the workforce. I don't like when people tell me, you look tired or you look overwhelmed. I am a mom. I have kids. I'm going to always look tired. That's just it's going to be what it is. But, I want people to look at the qualifications. Do you do what you said you were going to do? Will you be there if I need you to be there? Those are the things that, we should be judging each other on. And I just wish we could eliminate the microaggressions. I know we never can eliminate them. We're always going to have biases, but that's one of the biggest challenges for leadership.
I love that.
I can share, from my perspective too, I think it is about how do we let people be who they are, and not only let them, but encourage them to be who they are without asking those questions. So you talked about me and us at Camel creating a culture that is accepting and that is warm and that believes in each other. I purposely and am intentional about that because it matters. And I've worked other places where it didn't feel that way, and it didn't make me want to go to work, and it didn't inspire me because work can be hard enough as it is. So, and you have that, I feel like, even more when you're a woman who's in the workplace, those stigmas about you showing your emotions or you maybe having to run behind because you had something happen with daycare that was out of your control and you're the one who's doing drop-off. Those are all real factors of our life, and you shouldn't have to leave that at the door. And I think sometimes women still face that.
I think one of the things that I was going to say was when it comes to, workforce in 2023, right? We've come a long way, right? Is that their year?
Probably.
We've come a long way since, call it post-COVID, whatever. But having a space where, you know, work doesn't always look like eight to 5 anymore. And I think that some industries have done a really great job of leaning into that and respecting that and ensuring that people, you know, your work is focused on your outcomes of this is what my job is, this is the value I bring to the organization. And, you know, I know some places, you know, you have to work 8 to 5 or whatever that is based on the conditions of your work environment, but there's so many roles out there that don't. And so I think that as an industry, workforce needs to embrace that flexibility of being able to have that integration with your life when you have something that comes up at 9 o'clock and you need to be, you know, an hour later than you normally are, or you know, something comes up in the evening and you got to jump into work. And so I think that work-life balance, like, that looks a lot different, and it's more of that integration of this is who you are both in the workplace and at home, and they can coexist together.
What do you think that integration and that flexibility does specific to women in the workforce? Like, how do you think that affects women differently or helps to support them?
I think to me, it allows me to give myself grace of that, like, you don't have to be 100% you know, the leader, or at work. You don't have to be 100% at home 100% of the time. That, like, if you need to give and take and be flexible with what hat you're putting on or what role you're wearing that day, that allows you to have space to be that flexibility and to be multiple roles. Because I think that, you know, the evolution of society was women weren't supposed to be leaders in organizations. And so now that we're in a space where, you know, primary caregivers at home, but also, you know, trying to make your career trajectory as well. And so I think we're in a space now where we have both and so I think that for me, that flexibility offers me grace and the acceptance to bring my full self to work. So,
Tekea, if you could wave a magic wand and make like one sweeping change, just one, that would reduce the harm caused by gender disparities or that would promote gender equity, what one change would you just wave your magic wand and make?
It would have to deal with the pay scale. It would have to deal with pay equality, prevailing wage. Do you know how much milk costs? And you still, and women are like, what, I think 82 cents to $1 when it comes to men with regards to wage. So definitely it would be that, you know, it would be wage. It's important. I mean, we have to make a living, right? We have to, not only are we caretakers, caregivers, but we also have to pay the bills. Let's just be honest about it.
Right.
We have to put gas in the car. We have to put food on the table. Just like men, right? We have to bring it to the table, you know, just like men. So for me, it would be waving that wand. It would help. I mean, we all know it would help. It definitely would make it a lot easier, you know, for us to be able to be paid more, so that way we can sustain our homes. Because nowadays you see women working 2 or 3 jobs, you know, and their children are at home and they're working 2 or 3 jobs. And then you hear the educators say, you guys should be doing X, Y, and Z with your children. And they want to.
Like,
when? Right. They want to. They really want to. Right. How? Tell me when I'm not passed out because I'm tired, because I want to make sure there are clothes on my child's back, you know. The lights are on. So for me, that would be the wand I would wave.
That's a good one.
Others. What would your magic wand wish be?
Again, that qualifications, you know, where I can walk into the room and it's not going to be a guess if I'm qualified enough to handle this because I'm a female. Like, I can lead, I can get this done, and yeah, I can go get coffee if you need me to, but please don't expect it.
It's so true.
You know, the qualifications. Don't look at me and say, oh, I wonder if she can do this job. I mean, 9 times out of 10, yeah, I can multitask and do it. So that would be my biggest takeaway, qualified.
How about you, Cassie?
Yeah, I think I resonate with both of those, honestly. I think the pay equity is a big thing. Like, across all industries that I think we need to not only pay women what they're worth, but like the value of the role, right? Like if a man was in that position, he should be getting paid the exact same as a woman, regardless of who's in that seat, right? And we talked to that component of it, but then also being appreciated for your role, your expertise, who you are as an individual, what value you bring to the table, I think is a really big piece too. So I echo both of those.
Okay. We are going to transition to our next segment called Facts and Feelings. So you probably hear it from our business coach, Keith, but both he and my therapist always say, like, facts, not feelings. Facts, not feelings. Facts, not feelings, right? When you're spiraling out of control, facts, not feelings. And then there's also the stigma associated with women having feelings in the workplace and women having emotions. So we are going to share some facts with you and ask you to share how that makes you feel so that we can combine our facts and our feelings. So we're talking about leadership among women and between women. We pretty universally accept that women are underrepresented in leadership positions. Data backs it up, right? 5% of CEO positions at the S&P 500 companies in 2019, and that has grown to a whopping 10% in 2023, which is like a huge benchmark. And also, seriously, there's a whole thing called like the John. Have you heard about the John thing with S&P 500 companies? So the day that there were more female CEOs in the S&P 500 than male CEOs named John specifically. Yes. So today there are 41 women leading S&P 500 companies and only 23 Johns who are male, but it's still only 8.2% of CEO roles in the S&P 500. So it hurts. It's painful. There was this cool study that an organization called the Leadership Circle did, and they analyzed 244,000 professional profiles and answers to questions, and they really honed in on what traits female leaders and women in leadership positions bring. So I want to share with you what they found and get your feelings. One finding was that women leaders score significantly higher in their capability to connect and relate to others, suggesting the relationships built are characterized by authenticity and an awareness of how leaders contribute to the greater good beyond the leader's immediate sphere of influence. The study's author wrote, female leaders more often lead from a playing to win orientation, focusing on their natural curiosities about what matters most to the future they are creating and partnering with others to move forward that vision. And the analysis also noted female leaders show up in a noticeably different way in terms of building caring connections, mentoring and developing others, and exhibiting concern for the community. In today's business environment, this acts as a superpower.
So hearing all of those facts, does anyone have any initial feelings that you immediately think about when you hear that information?
I do play to win. I do.
Same.
I'm not even going to hold anyone up today. I play to win. It is in my blood. I play to win, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I mean, I feel like, why not? If I'm in it, you got to be in it to win it, right? So I'm in it. I'm going to win, and there's no other way. That's just growing up. That's how, I was raised. It's in my blood, so I play to win, and I don't apologize for it. I don't, but I still connect though at the same time. So that resonates too. So I mean, while I'm playing to win, I'm making connections. I'm moving, because that's important, because you need connections in life, right? You need those relationships, right? And you cannot forget those who helped you, right? And also I always say my village. So my village is important to me. They help me to win, right? And I also do the same with them. And that's important. We have to make sure, again, giving back. So having that village, having mentors, to help me direct my path, that's important while I'm trying to win.
Could not resonate more with me. And in being a female leader who plays to win, I often am working with large teams of women. And so it's like, I want us all to win. And also I know I'm up against, I've already started this game down points. And so I have to leverage every single possible alliance to win. And those alliances are primarily going to be with others who are in a disadvantaged position. It's not always women, right? But it is very frequently those of us that are facing some form of disparity or, already are starting off at a disadvantage and coming together to help win. And it takes, for me, it takes patience, it takes planning, it takes thought, and oftentimes it takes having to play a role or having to look dumb or stupid or something that I'm not, because I know I'm playing the long game. All right, I have to look like the dumb blonde today, but 3, 5, 10 years down the road, that's the win I want. That's when it's going to count. And I can't get there by myself, and nor do I want to.
Right.
Why would I want to? If I'm putting 10 years worth of work into winning, I do not want to win alone.
No, not at all.
I want to be able to celebrate with some folks and to bring others with on that journey.
That is most important. Again, as women, we're taught at a young age to compete against one another. Instead of, let me help you fix your crown, right? Let me help you succeed. Never ever want to help fix one's crown. It's always, you got to beat this person, you got to beat this person. No, they can win too. I don't know why we can't all win. We can win. I want my circle to win.
Me too.
I do. Mm-hmm. So if you're in my circle, I'm like, we're going to win. This is what we do. And I'm going to make sure that your crown is fixed and mine as well. If I see you slipping, I'm going to make sure that I help you get up. That's important. That's important because no one else is going to do it. So I'm going to make sure I'll be there to help you do that. Because I will want you to do that for me.
Absolutely.
Amirika, I see you nodding your head while Tekea is saying that. What are you thinking?
Because she's hitting all the right points. The fixing your crown thing and understanding that our crowns may look different, right? We might have different goals, but if I can help you with your goal, of course it's going to help me with mine. But I hear all that data and I'm like, okay, how can we build a program to start CEOs? Can we get women in CEO positions? I'm like, my mind is already like, okay, where did the data come from? Can I break this down? Again, I think that's the passion right there. Yes. I'm like, okay, we got to get these girls into these CEO positions. What doors do we have to knock on? What companies do we have to call? Because it's powerful for us to see leaders. That's why I'm so thankful in the role that I'm in, because I have wonderful leaders. I have a team of people that I can go to and say, look, this is what I'm dealing with. How do I manage this? What have you been through in this situation? You've done this longer than me. Tell me, how do I move forward? And even if I'm not asking the question, again, I'm going to tear up. Even if I'm not asking the question, I can see in their daily walk of life, things that they're doing. I'm like, stealing that, taking that with me. Because, I don't want to be a CEO. She does that well. I don't want to do that. But I do want to help lead other people to get to fix their crown moment so they can become CEOs of their own lives and their own situations.
I love that, CEOs of their own lives, because it's not just about work. It should be about whatever brings us happiness in whatever way that looks in our lives. And I think that is a really powerful way to look at it, Amirika. Cassie, what do you think?
Yeah, all right. So you gave us the facts. My feelings, my initial feeling was yup. I see that, right? And so I was jotting a couple things down. We said connect and relate. I'm when I'm thinking of my personality traits as a leader, I always listening is the biggest thing for me, right? Listen listen to what people are saying, like listen to their concerns, but also like listen to what's not being said, read between the lines, you know, all of that. Playing into this win philosophy, and I hear the conversation around like we have to collaborate. Like it's the ultimate goal of being together. And then my biggest thing when it comes to leadership of caring, mentoring, like being this greater community is having a people first mentality of, you know, it's not always about profits. It's about taking care of your people and ensuring that that is your leading principle. And I think that resonates with me even more when it's in a space talking about women in leadership and ensuring that, you know, we're supporting other women, that we're creating space for women. And the biggest thing for me is when it comes to women in leadership positions, I think our industries and society knows that it's an issue, right? Like we hear these statistics all of the time about the lack of women in representation. But what we don't always see is that action towards it. Like, what is the solution? Yeah. And I think that women are doing a better job of advocating and being that support for each other. But how do we get the people that aren't in this room? How do we get those that are in other leadership positions across our region to recognize and to empower and to advocate for more women in those positions?
I think you bring up a good point because in my role, one of the things that I do is I work with our business service team, and we talk to employers all the time, and they talk about representation. And a lot of times in HR, it's male, a lot of males in HR. And so we begin to say, well, what does your recruiting look like? You know what I mean? How are you retaining talent? And what does your process look like when you're putting the application out? You know, are you weeding out those individuals who you're looking to seek? You said you want more women on your team. Well, are you weeding them out with your application? Yeah. You know, are you in the interview? Are you weeding them out because you're looking at them and you're thinking, no, that person looks weak, or I don't think she can do the job, as Amirika talked about, even though she has the credentials, but yet and still you're weeding them out, right? So, you know, talking with HR staff, we talk about that. What are you doing and what are you not doing? You know, how come you don't have women, you know, in leadership positions? What happened? How many applied? How come they felt like they couldn't apply?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I read when you were reading that, I agree. I couldn't agree more with everything you said, but it also just made me really angry because it drives me to know there's so much more work that needs to be done. And when you hear those characteristics of leadership that a lot of women leaders bring, shouldn't that be something that, irregardless of how we identify as gender, that we should celebrate? We should want people to come to work and be who they are. If they're male, if they're female, if they identify as neither of those, it shouldn't matter. And to know that there's still such a disparity in the data, it just drives me. And it just drives me mad. And it also makes me even more committed to being a change agent and being part of that action. It's not just enough to talk about it. We have to continue to work at it.
Earlier, you were talking about your own implicit biases. And I think, Amirika, that's something that, like, really, even in the episodes we've been doing here, I think about a lot in terms of, like, checking my own internal biases toward my male counterparts and ensuring, checking those societal norms that I've been conditioned with, right? Like that, that men can't be caring leaders, or that men can't be empathetic, that, men can't be caregivers and, you know, the primary caregivers and things like that. And just as frustrated as I often feel when assumptions are made about me, I'm sure those same assumptions are felt. And yes, many of them already come from positions of more privilege and power than we do. But if we're going to make change, like, it, you know, there's that power in allyship, and also in not just making assumptions about, like, why why haven't? Is it that y'all haven't created a welcoming environment, or is it something like, have y'all been trying and it's not working? Is it there could be other factors, and not always making those assumptions, but also like meeting people where they're at and working with them if willing to grow and learn, and presuming positive intent instead of simply having that adversarial, well-deserved many times and sometimes unavoidable, but it can't purely be adversarial. There has to be checking of implicit bias and active learning and leadership and inclusion in conversations like this to be able to equal out those power imbalances.
And not just to pick on the men, but I've seen it with women leaders too, where it's
Absolutely.
are you
Oh my God.
are you doing this on
Yes.
purpose? Are you picking on people because it makes you feel better? Like, I don't understand. But I love what you said about listening and reading between the lines. Like, I think there is some lean in that has to happen for us to be like, we have time to invest in our people and find out, how can we fix crowns? How can we get you to a leadership position? Or how can we elevate you in some way? I think if we did more, time with people where we're listening and we're leaning in, then we'd find out what qualities and what skills that someone has, what strengths, what weaknesses, and we can play to those for that person to grow and become better in our company, which is what going to make our company better if we take the time to do that. So I don't know if it's a training, I don't know if it's a meditation space where we just have this one moment where we play and say, look, let's lean into each other.
You have to be intentional.
Yeah, thank you.
You have to be intentional.
But I think some people think it's a waste of time.
You have to be
It's
intentional.
not a
It's
waste.
not just to check a box. I mean, it is about, you live it day in, day out. You are dedicated to helping people grow. You are dedicated to listening to where their hopes and dreams are going. And if you just do it to say you attended a training, that's not going to change. We all know that.
No. Okay. Y'all, I mean, I could sit here and have this conversation for hours, but we're out of time. So I know, right? Shocker. So we're going to transition into our last segment, which is our 10-word takeaway, okay? I'm going to give you a few moments to think, make some notes of your biggest takeaways or your biggest takeaway from today. 10 words or less, sentence, phrase, individual words, however you want to do it. Either what you hope others will take away from the dialogue today, or what you yourself are taking away.
And so while you're all working on those 10 words, I just want to thank our audience who's been listening today, and thank our guest for taking the time that they did today to be vulnerable and open and share what some of their thoughts are. I know I learn a lot from them every day, and I'm hopeful that you learned just a little bit from them today as well. So I want to thank Tekea Norwood, Chief Operating Officer and Equal Opportunity Officer with Capital Area Michigan Works, Cassie Cotton, President at Piper & Gold Public Relations. Let me stumble over my words because that's just such a great change, Cassie. And Amirika Richardson, our Education Officer at Capital Area Michigan Works. And I always try to think about just one word to kind of summarize how I feel about these sessions. And the one that comes to mind today for me is inspiring. I am so grateful to be in a space where I get to learn and work alongside such amazing female leaders. And it's something that drives me every day and that I'm grateful for every day. And the three of you matter. And Kate, you obviously matter too, since we've been friends for so long.
Obviously.
But I mean, what each of you brings to the table and what you're doing as change makers in this space can't be understated. And so you inspire me, and I appreciate you.
Okay. So my 9 words are take the time because people matter and come first. With that, I would love to hear y'all's 10 words. Who wants to start?
I can start. Don't put the word clock on me yet, but because I'll probably go over 10. But anyways, My 10-ish words would be advocate for other women, even in a space that they don't always advocate for themselves. I think it's really important, whether it's, you're working with a entry-level, newer professional, or they don't have that self-identification yet, and like you can empower and uplift them, or whether you're sitting in a room with CEOs, like as women, we don't get that recognition enough. And so anytime that we can shine light on others and raise people up, I think is an opportunity well worth taking. So that would be my 10-ish words summary.
All right. I'm with you on the 10-ish.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little over.
That's all right.
But mine is just to be authentic in your kingdom. Like, just be who you are and then grow the kingdoms around you. So, like you said, fix your crown, make sure that you're elevating other people, but being yourself. Like, Carrie knows I'm a crier. I cry about everything. I'm also, like, super spicy at times, but being me, and she supports me in it. And Tekea.
Oh.
All the time.
I guess I would say, I don't know if it's 10-ish, but for me, I was going to say, being a woman in leadership, you can lead from behind too.
Yeah.
You can lead from behind, and if you can take something away, as Cassie and Amirika talked about, pushing those up in front of you, it's okay. You're still a leader. You're a great leader because, in fact, you're helping someone else to go into that role, to, again, help another woman or person go into that role of leadership. So it's okay to push someone up and lead from behind.
Oh, Tekea,
The
that
cheerleader.
resonates.
Look who I got right here. Okay, I'm sorry. That was
The amount that resonates, though, like at this particular junction in my career, right? Like really evaluating where I'm at and like what the impact I want to make is, and thinking about like what does it mean to be my version of a CEO. And we've had so many conversations. I can't look you in the eyes, but like we've had so many conversations that like for me, it's exactly what you said. I've been in front. I've been out front for Capillary Michigan Works for almost a decade, for my own company for almost 12 years now. And I'm tired. I'm so tired, but I still have a lot to give. I just want to give differently, and I want to lead from behind. Like, I want to, like, see Cassie shine because I know and trust all that she can bring, and I know that I have a lot left to bring too, but I don't want to do it in the same way anymore. And being able to find, partnership and collaboration in that, like there is so much power in being able to, like, people are like, what are you going to do with yourself? Who are you even going to be? And I'm like, I'm still gonna be fucking me. Right. Like, I'm just like, do you understand how brilliant she is? I'm so excited for this.
I was excited when you had named her president. I was like,
right. And like this notion that as a woman we can't like let someone else thrive and take that step back and still be confident. Like, I'm still bringing a lot to the table here. It just looks a little different, and that's what I want right now.
Right.
I'm ready for that, and she's ready for this.
Absolutely.
But that's what it's about.
I can say that on your behalf. You feel excited, less ready right this moment, I'm sure, but
you're ready.
But that's what it's about. It's about having that team that you trust and that you empower and that you allow to be who they want to be in whatever way that looks. And I think that's what I take away a lot from this conversation.
Yeah,
Yes.
and to listen. Because you told me when you were ready. You did.
Oh,
I mean,
love
she
that.
told me. She's like, hey, you're slow. You play the long game, but like, I need to know what that is, and I need it to go a little faster. And I was like, oh, yeah. No, me too. How fast do you need to go? But also, me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yes.
Right? Like, I needed it to go faster, but I don't have that skill. So it's wonderful. Okay. On that note, we're going to wrap this up. So with that, thank you guys thank you, humans. I'm working on that.
I know
thank
that
you,
you
humans.
guys are such a Midwesterners.
Midwesterners. Y'all, thank y'all for being here and for all that you've shared. So grateful to be in this space with these amazing fellow leaders in our community. On that note, I am Kate Snyder. I'm the CEO of Piper & Gold Public Relations here in Lansing.
And I'm Carrie Rosingana, CEO at Capital Area Michigan Works here in the Tri-County region. Thanks again for joining us, and thank you guests for being with us today. We'll see you soon for our next episode with some new guests.